Retro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham. After a family trip to Syria at the tender age of 10, Michael Ibrahim's parents handed him an oud. It's a lute or guitar-like instrument that's prominent in Arab music. That instrument became a gateway to his heritage. In 2009, he founded the National Arab Orchestra, or NAO, and in the years since, the group has established itself as the nation's leader in Arab music. Kerry Jr. II sat down with the founder and music director, Michael Ibrahim, to understand how the foundation got started and what is the orchestra what it stands for and why he started it in the first place.
I started the National Arab Orchestra because I wanted to hold on to my identity as an Arab American. Mm-hmm. And for me, that became most manifest through the music. We grew up in Sterling Heights back in a time when there weren't many Arabs, so the population was different in that town. And I wasn't really raised going to religious events or the political environment that, most Arab Americans are in, the whole idea of activism and everything. It just made me feel, I felt most at home when I was doing this stuff. So that's really why I did it.
What was your upbringing like?
Well, I was really lucky. I mean,
Sure.
I grew up in a town, it was mostly non-Arabs at that time. When I went to high school, I was in high school at the time 9/11 happened. And, you'll hear a lot of people tell you stories about how they felt the racism and all that. I don't have any of those stories. My parents were afraid because, I'm first generation. I'm born here. My parents came from the old country. So out of fear, when that happened, they kept us home a couple of days, but our principal made it a point to reach out and brought us into our office. It's like, you're home. This is your home. I was really lucky to have that. I didn't have to see some of the ugliness that other people will say they've seen. I didn't really feel like I'm being outcast. So it wasn't so much like I want to feel at home because I don't feel at home. It's because this makes me feel good. This makes me feel most of where I am at myself. It just sounds good. Normally when you talk to other musicians that don't have the mantle of carrying a cultural heritage or a cultural history on their back, they'll say, yeah, this sounds good. I like this music. That's why I'm doing it. It's the same thing for me. It sounds good.
What kind of feelings do you get playing the music? What does it call you back to? What memories does it draw?
I have memories of my grandmother when we would watch a show, and on the show an oud player would be there, even though he was really lip-syncing when he was playing, but still the sound and hearing it, and then hearing the singing. I like all of those things. They all sounded good to me, and they sound familiar. And then the more I got into it, the more I found other things that I liked about it. Like, Arab music has a lot of roots within the Byzantine church tradition. Much like how Western music has a lot of its musical roots in the Catholic Church. I like that. I like the fact that the stuff my grandfather as a priest would chant is related to some of the melodies that I'm playing now. I like the fact that because of music, I get to participate in this larger idea of being Arab American, because the Arab world is a very diverse place. People think it's just one, plotch of land, all the same color, same thing. It's not. It's very different. You have 22 different countries. Each of those countries have their own history. And mind you, the borders of those countries today did not exist in the way they did today as they did 100 years ago. So you're talking about decades upon centuries upon centuries of history and tradition that, it's only natural to know that this is a diverse people.
So when did the music go from something you desired personally to being something you wanted to share with others?
My parents never really brought up religion. We're a Greek Orthodox family. They never really emphasized the differences between religion or like geographical areas of the Arab world. It was only until later, I started to see those differences. And when I started to see those differences, 10 on up, I really wanted to share more of me so that people could get to know me and my culture and my people and my society.
So how do the foundations of Arab music and the Arab tradition compare to that of Western European music? The stuff that we're typically taught. I'm talking scales, note patterns, that sort of thing.
It depends on what time frame you're talking about. Like,
Sure.
if I were to talk about it today as somebody living in 2025, the basic foundations are the same. You have phrasing, you have musical sentences, and you have a beginning, middle, and end. That's basically music or a song stripped down to its basic fundamentals, okay? The rest is just details. Sound is sound, melody is melody, and how that moves is dependent on the place where it comes from. So for us, rather than scales, we have modes, or what we would say maqam.
Maqam, yeah.
And that's based off of an oral tradition, not oral, aural, A-U-R-A-L. It's by rote, by ear.
By ear, yeah.
And the music was passed down for the longest time by ear. So there's like hundreds upon hundreds of pieces of medieval Arab music that are lost to us, other than what's little is written about them in treatises that are just now only starting to be translated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those move differently. It's not like your traditional 8-note scale, and then you have the harmonies that follow within, and then the circle of fifths, and all those things. No, it's more closer to before all of that theory in Western music developed. It's more modes. And by modes, you want to think of it like little lyrical figures for each maqam, and each one builds on top of each other like a piece of a puzzle that makes up the entire piece.
And so there's just so many different genres of music outside of what's traditionally Western and American music that I want to listen to. And I can never find Arab music, and I'm always interested to find...
What is considered American music? That was a question we would ask ourselves in my music classes.
I mean, there are American...
Most of the stuff we play in school, most of it is
European, sure.
Mozart,
I'd say
Beethoven,
a lot
Bach, Haydn.
A lot of African American genres, although they're inspired by African genres of music, I would consider them traditionally American.
Well, for
because
me,
they were founded here.
To me, that I would consider it American music.
Yeah,
it was
like Motown,
born out of here,
right?
Even if it has roots within African culture, which, by the way, shares a lot of roots with Arab culture.
Correct? Yeah.
No, call and response. There are even some jazz artists that will sing with microtones. If you watch Black Panther and you hear the soundtrack, he's using microtones. The singer in that.
Okay, microtones like in between.
In between
Western
the white
notes.
and black keys.
Yeah,
you see how we're using the Western system to kind of describe the differences.
I love that you highlight that, though. That's a good point. I have that frame of reference because that's primarily when I was trained in classical.
You know why I do that? I do that because I think it's important for people to realize that there's a lot they might not know, and sometimes that might happen as a consequence more than a willful thing. Consequence of something.
So I see you've got your oud there. Can you demonstrate that for me?
I mean, a scale is more like this, right? Now, if I were to play a maqam starting on the same note, I could play it and it'll sound like a scale, just sound different. And calling back to that Byzantine trait, this part. On the way up, that seventh is raised. That's a Byzantine trait. A trait from the Byzantine church. The idea is on the way up, you're going to heaven. On the way down, you're coming back down to earth.
So it's like leaning in that direction. The note is...
Yeah. Now, I played it for you like a scale. I'm talking about it like a Western musician is talking about something. But really, rast. talk about it like a skill. I just played phrases. I stayed within a certain group of notes, and they moved a certain way, and I know that because of tradition and my training. It's phrases, little pieces. Okay? That's a piece.
Mm-hmm.
This is a piece. Okay, here's another piece. And then I went back down.
And that's always played in that way. Those are the those phrases are played.
One of the ways. That's
One of
the
the-
thing.
so-
The
okay.
tradition is built. It's a little. There's more variety than people think. Even though we say improvisation, it's not 100% improvised. There's some rules that you follow, but at the same time, you're talking about 2,000 years of playing those melodies. Things are bound to develop.
Change.
Yeah.
It's not about the individual notes and how you put them together. It's about the phrases themselves.
Phrases, along with some rules, along with tradition.
You're listening to The Metro on 101.9 WDET. I'm Kerry Jr. II. My guest is Michael Ibrahim. He's the founder of the National Arab Orchestra. So take me to the early days. How did the National Arab Orchestra get started?
I started in 2009, did 3 concerts at U of M on their campus, and then, kind of just left that shell. We just overgrew it, and it was clear to me that I didn't think the university was going to take this thing on like how I wanted it to take it on. So that's why we started the nonprofit, and from there it just kept building.
And where do you find your musicians?
All over the country,
Okay.
and they're mixed between Arabs and non-Arabs.
What's really the goal with the orchestra, with your career in music?
I mean, I'm personally just going with the flow, man.
Sure.
I'm just working. I want to be able to leave that organization knowing that it's going to continue without me.
Mm-hmm.
And that needs funding. So I want to see, not only just the Arab American community, but the community at large to fund this initiative, because it's important for, Arab Americans to have an outlet for their culture, but it's also important for non-Arabs to have a platform to be able to find out about the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, there's no better way to do that than through music, because you get an unbiased, unfiltered experience. People come to a concert, they see how people act, they see what the vibe is, they see how other Arabs are acting in the concerts, and then they'll really soon realize that half of the misconceptions they may have had are not true.
Yeah. Earlier, you said that, the Arab world is not a monolith. Different countries, different people, everyone thinks of them as the same. For the National Arab Orchestra, how do you balance showing the diversity within the Arab culture?
We've done music from North Africa. We do music from the Levant. We do music from the Mesopotamian region. Those are the 3 main parts of the Arab world.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to do that. If we don't get to certain parts, like I don't do a lot of Gulf music in the West because I don't have Gulf percussionists.
Okay.
And I don't want to gentrify that tradition by not having
proper
somebody who
instruments.
actually knows what they're doing to give me that sound.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So the only limitation comes down to funding and availability.
Is there anything else I may have missed that you think is important to share about the orchestra, about the music and the tradition before we wrap up?
Really stress this enough, but the arts are the most important thing we have as a community. All art, all of it. It's all important. It's all important. It's very important to support it. It's important to promote it. It's important to put it out there. It's important to create it. If you're in a position to support artists and support artistic institutions like the NAO, like the DSO, like the Flint Symphony, like the Detroit Opera, it's important to do so. It's so important, especially in an age where things become more instant and less attention to admire and slow down and think. We need more outlets for that. We're not going to get that off the iPhone, that's for sure.
And I always wonder, I'm always like, you know what? I feel like people wouldn't truly understand unless we didn't have it. Like if we didn't have music. And I know that's not a world I want to be a part of, but I'm wondering, I guess I'm just asking if you just play this like intellectual game with me. What would that world look like if we didn't have it? And why is that? Like, I imagine whatever that example is the shining example that people want to look to say, hey, let's avoid that.
Let me ask you this. When somebody goes to a church or a religious service, why are they going?
To worship their higher power.
No.
Community?
They go there for spiritual nourishment.
Okay.
They go there to feed their soul.
Yes.
Music does the same thing, except it removes the barrier and the obligation of belonging to a certain sect or to a certain group. That's why we say things like music can bring people together. Because you have now a space where people can hear something and it can make them feel something, and without the precondition of having to belong. I remember a time where in the West, we would talk about the Arab world and criticize the Arab world for their tribal politics. You have so many tribal things and layers and everything. And we used to look at that as Americans and say, you know, that's something we don't have to deal with. Mm-hmm. We are dealing with that right now. Mm-hmm. Right, left, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. You know, this community, that community, this group, that belief, this belief. All of that are all of those things are preconditions that require a person to choose. That's where we're falling as a society. And that's where we're failing each other. You know, if we were to talk about it from a Christian standpoint, love thy neighbor, it's not enough to just love your neighbor. At the end of the day, every religious text from the Abrahamic faith will say that God created man in his image and likeness. That means that it is your job as a person who subscribes to that belief to welcome every other person that comes in front of you with the same reverence and respect that you would treat your own maker. Right? We are not doing that. We're too focused on you're different. I belong here. I belong there. Music removes all of that. At our concerts, there are Arabs, there are non-Arabs, and the makeup of the orchestra is both that. The administration of the orchestra is both of those things. It's a model for what can happen when everybody works towards one goal or one set of beliefs or ideas. And not believe, I know it's triggering to say beliefs because then, religion. No, I'm talking about the common belief that, you know, your neighbor is your neighbor. We're all in the same state. We're all in the same country. We're all working towards the same thing, happiness. We want to be happy. People want to be happy.
Michael Ibrahim is the founder and music director for the National Arab Orchestra. He spoke with the Metro's Carey Jr. II. This is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation. You all have a great day.